What's up, YouTube? Okay, so David Sereda just posted this on Facebook. It's a video by this page called Stranger Than Fiction, and they post all kinds of disinformation. This particular video they posted has 6.5 million views here on Facebook, and it suggests that CGI was used to fake the impact of the planes going into the buildings. And I'm really just surprised at how many people commenting on this like actually believe this. I mean, I've been studying 9/11 for since 2004. I think I got into this. I've been studying it a long time, and I have a scientific background, and it just really blows my mind how many people 17 years after 9/11 are still promoting disinformation theories. I mean, these theories have been debunked over and over. These theories are used, they're propped up as straw men, literally, to be like, this is what conspiracy theorists believe. They believe that CGI and fake planes, there were no planes that hit the towers. This is like the textbook of what they use to basically prove that we're all fucking idiots. Like, and nobody gets it. Like, people are like, oh, I believe this. This is the truth. This is actual 9/11 truth here. September clues, and people believe this. It is ridiculous. David Sereda. If you guys don't know who he is, I used to like watch a lot of his videos way back in the day before I actually went to college and got a degree in physics, and knew enough to understand that this guy is just a he's great at making word salads and sounding scientific, and he just says anything and anything that he thinks he can get away with to basically make himself sound like he's knowledgeable or has some sort of deep intelligence about what's really going on in the world. He's really a joke if you actually know what the heck you're talking about with physics or gravity or any of this stuff. If you watch some of the stuff that he's done on anti-gravity in the past. I don't know if this guy's a disinformation agent. He very well could be. I mean, he lives in Israel currently. It's just a lot of weird stuff about this dude. I don't trust him. All the stuff he's ever put out on UFOs and NASA, and it's just all disinfo. It's all just lies. So if you guys want some resources for debunking no plane theories, I think the best website out there is the one my good friend Ken Doc put together. Ken Doc and me ran the 9/11 Truth groups on Facebook for many years before they were completely subterfuged and subverted by these no plane disinformation agents who come out in force to promote no plane theories. And I swear half these accounts on Facebook are like fake government shills, just promoting these disinfo theories in order to make them seem popular, make them seem normal or cool, and make them seem like the norm, and what all conspiracy theorists believe, as an effort to basically paint us a picture of what we all are and what we believe. When some of us are actually legitimate like researchers who do like real investigations and actually aren't mentally ill and have cognitive skills and abilities to discern truth from fiction. But some people are just, as you can see on this thread and some of the responses I've gotten. So, you are just a liar. When you die, you will be shown the truth. That's what his response was to me. So yeah, I know I said I'm done with 9/11, but honestly, I'm never going to be done with this, because I'm going to see something like this 17 years later, people still harping on these CGI no plane disinformation theories, as if that's truth. Of course it's gonna make me angry, and I'm gonna get back into this issue, and never gonna stop fighting for the truth and arguing with people over what really happened that day. Another big disinformation theory I've really put out there in the past is Judy Wood. Judy Wood, I have a whole page on her on my website, linked in the description below, going over her theory and why it's complete and utter bullshit. And this page by Ken Doc, too, is another great resource for investigating and finding that out. I mean, yeah, the 9/11 truth stuff, they make it offensive on purpose, and I think they put these theories out there, and they put mentally ill people out there and promote them. And in order to make people angry at this. It's that people are going to think that this is what all 9/11 truthers believe, or what all people who just people who want a legitimate investigation into what really happened that day, and just want people held accountable and investigated. I mean, Bush and Cheney never testified under oath and never on the record. They testified behind closed doors together in the same room so that they could make sure their stories matched. It's just the entire setup of that investigation and the 9/11 Commission. Anyone who believes in that or thinks that we have, this has been the most investigated thing in history and that we have all the answers, it's just not true. It needs to be reinvestigated. It needs to be reopened. But these types of theories are going to assure that it never gets reinvestigated or reopened, because people are just going to think that there's nothing to this. There's no real meat and potatoes there. There's nothing really going on behind the scenes, and nothing could be further from the truth. As we talked about before, there was this program called Continuity of Government. I talked about this before in my other videos on 9/11, and Continuity of Government was one of the most top secret government programs. It was the Armageddon planners, and basically it was a secret faction of high-ranking White House officials during the Ford and Nixon administrations, of which two of those people were Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld. Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld were on this Continuity of Government program, and basically their job for nearly 2 decades was to investigate and dream up the most bizarre and complex doomsday scenarios they could possibly imagine. Just any event that you could possibly imagine the government having to deal with. And they would plan and gather detailed intelligence on how exactly the government would respond to that and what they would do in the event of such events. And they planned for things exactly like 9/11. That was their job, was to dream up scenarios exactly like 9/11, multiple hijackings. And anyone who thinks that this isn't something that they could have predicted before doesn't know about the Dawson Field hijackings that happened. Let's go look that up. Multiple airplanes hijacked simultaneously. This was obviously a scenario. We even have the X-Files pilot episode there talking about scenario 12D, which is this came out before 9/11, and X-Files script writers were able to dream up a scenario virtually identical to what would later take place on 9/11. So to think that Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld, sitting on this Continuity of Government program, didn't think up something exactly like 9/11 and didn't have all the detailed intelligence to respond to and deal with that, it's just absolutely asinine. And this is the real conspiracy here. It's not no plane theories. It's not CGI. It's not Judy Wood. It's focus on suspects. It's 17 years later. 9/11, and if you're not focusing on suspects and naming names and going after real people and saying who's responsible and who did this, then just shut the fuck up. Period. And get off the internet, for real. So I just want to continue with this, and then I'm going to leave you with it. But a really interesting fact: everyone talks about World Trade Center Building 7. World Trade Center Building 7. If you look up the tenants list, the number 1 tenant in World Trade Center Building 7 was Solomon Smith Barney. Solomon Smith Barney had over 1,200,000 square feet, and they had floors on 0 to 6 and 18 to 46. And then right smack in the middle of this big gap of where they didn't have floors, they just happened to have an office on floor 13. Now what's interesting about floor 13 is that according to the NIST report on 9/11, look this up, NIST report, column 79. The NIST report actually says that the collapse of World Trade Center 7, and they concluded that the collapse began on floor 13, where Solomon Smith Barney had offices. And they concluded that fire weakened this column 79, and that was like the kingpin in the whole structure, which caused the whole structure to collapse. So if NIST and people who believe NIST already proved that this building could have been taken down with simple fires melting or causing column 79 to buckle, thereby a chain reaction, the whole building comes down, then who's to say that Solomon Smith Barney couldn't have put a little bit of nanothermite on floor 13 to accelerants or something to melt through that steel beam a little bit faster. It just makes perfect sense to me. And yet these debunkers will come up with any reason or any excuse to say that, oh, well, you know, I believe that fires could have brought down these buildings, but there's no way that thermite could have. Well, NIST kind of did show this, and Solomon Smith Barney, another thing that's really interesting about Solomon Smith Barney is Solomon Smith Barney, this big bank in World Trade Center 7, they had a foreign advisory board, or international advisory board. And guess who sat as the chairman on the international advisory board? Donald Rumsfeld. None other than Donald Rumsfeld. He was the, yes, here it is, government info, the Honorable Donald Rumsfeld. You can find this on this government library where it gives Donald Rumsfeld's entire career history and all the things that he did. And it says right here on that list that he worked for Solomon Smith Barney on the International Advisory Board. Yet, when Luke Rudkowski confronted Donald Rumsfeld in New York City and asked him if he knew or had heard about Building 7,
yeah, but
it's really funny. You got to watch this.
Surrounding that,
oh, is
it was
that
the
right?
third skyscraper that was away from.
I gotta go.
I gotta go. The third skyscraper. So basically, he went up to Donald Rumsfeld and started asking him about this World Trade Center 7. And Donald Rumsfeld's like, I don't know anything about what's Building 7. I've never heard of Building 7. You got to see this. This is powerful stuff. This man should be indicted and should be put on the witness stand and be required to testify on oath, under record, to everything he knows about World Trade Center 7 and Solomon Smith Barney.
Sure, now I
Period.
Did you do some research into that?
No, I was busy with the Pentagon getting hit.
Of course, of course. Yeah, but there's a lot of controversy surrounding that.
Oh, is
it was
that
the
right?
third
I don't know anything about
skyscraper that was away from.
I gotta go.
But really,
Wow.
Princeton, right? Did you get it, Hayes? Space for this guy to get his picture. Thanks.
But I was wondering, have you heard of Building 7? Because there was like a radio show where you said that you never heard of Building 7.
No, I haven't. What's Building 7?
The third skyscraper that fell on 9/11.
Oh my gosh, sure. Now I remember.
Did you do some research?
Oh, now I remember. Yes. The skyscraper whose largest tenant was the bank that I used to work for and sit on the International Advisory Board for. That's really funny. So, please, everyone out there, keep spreading your no-plane theories, your mentally ill disinformation, and keep ignoring like real evidence and real facts and real suspects. Because if you ain't talking about suspects and naming names, then get the fuck out of this movement. Period. I'm done. And I will be coming back to deal with more of you people.